Hello and welcome or welcome back to Maggie Mumbles. My name is Maggie, and on this channel I mumble about things that interest me, especially in relation to spiritual things, witchcraft things, personal development things. And if that sounds interesting to you, then please make sure that you're subscribed and hit the bell to be notified about each new video. Today I'm going to be revisiting the Enwitching Challenge, which is something I did in my old Facebook group. If you've been watching the series, then you already know this, but if you're new here, I have a lot of the scripts, but I lost all the videos, unfortunately. So I wanted to kind of recreate the videos as well as revisit the thoughts that I had at the time, the beliefs that I had at the time, and talk about how those things have changed for me now, 5 years later. Luckily, I do have the videos for the lesson for today, so I'm going to be reacting to the video that I had previously made, saying if I still agree with it or if I disagree and why I might have changed my mind. And I think this is really important to show that you can change the things that you believe. It's really healthy to revisit your beliefs and try to figure out where they came from and whether they still are valuable to you, something that you want to continue to hold on to. I'm hoping to kind of model that, I guess, with these videos, reflecting on where I might have been at the time and where I am now. Someday down the line, I might be able to revisit these and talk about how I've changed since now. We'll see if YouTube is still a thing in 5 years. I'm sure it will be, because it's been around since for 20 years. So anyway, I really hope that you like this reaction video. If you do, make sure you give this video a thumbs up, and please comment as we go if you have any aha moments, or if you have things you'd like to add to what I've said, or if you disagree and want to tell me your opinion and how it's different from what I've said. All of those things are welcome in the comments below. I can't wait to read your thoughts as well. Hello! Today's theme is walking your talk. So this is really all about your integrity. And I want us all to have this opportunity to just talk about and think about what integrity means. Basically, the definition of integrity is to have high principles and keep those standards consistent throughout all areas of your life, throughout all areas and pieces of yourself. And it requires doing 3 things consistently: being able to discern what is right from what is wrong, being able to do the right thing even when it might mean some sort of personal cost, and finally keeping your commitments. So following through with what you promise. I still agree with that. I think that integrity is being able to discern right from wrong. I think that right and wrong depends on the culture that you live in. So it's not universal what's right and wrong. I think that integrity is about doing the right thing, even if you have some sort of personal cost involved with that. In some ways, that's altruism more than integrity. It reminds me of that episode of Friends where Phoebe is trying to prove that there is such a thing as altruism, and Joey says that there's no such thing.
Well, yeah, it was a really nice thing and all, but it made you feel really good, right?
Yeah, so?
Well, it made you feel good, so that makes it selfish. Look, there's no unselfish good deeds, sorry.
Yes, there are. There are totally good deeds that are selfless.
Well, may I ask for one example?
Yeah, there's... No, you may not.
No matter what you do, you're still going to get a good feeling from doing that thing. So that's not altruistic because you're doing it because it's making you feel good. So there's always a personal gain. But I think that that can be a part of integrity. And then keeping your commitments is part of integrity too. So that's the truthfulness and honesty piece. And in a lot of ways, your integrity is woven in with the way that you communicate. So when you're interacting with other people, this is usually through what you say, or sometimes what you write, but generally it's your thoughts in some sort of word form. And then when you're communicating with yourself, this is in the form of your thoughts. So of course you know that your thoughts become your reality. And your words become your reality, and your actions become your reality. This is what magic is. I like how I had a rhythm there. I liked it. I like that your communication is tied up in your integrity. The way you communicate, the things that you say, that's that honesty piece, being truthful with your words. When you're talking to other people, that's how you communicate. And also body language, I think, is a key part of communication with other people. And with yourself, it's the things that you're thinking. And you might say things out loud as well, in speaking to yourself, but mostly it's your thoughts. But this piece about your thoughts become things, that comes from the law of attraction, which I don't not believe anymore. I don't want to say that I don't believe in the law of attraction anymore. I don't follow it in the same way that I did at the time. Now I believe that magic is so much more than just your thoughts. And if we put too much emphasis on the things that we're thinking, it can be kind of psychologically damaging because we don't always have good thoughts. So, especially if you're somebody who experiences like intrusive thoughts, where, you know, sometimes your thoughts revolve around harming yourself or others and you can't get rid of them. Or if you have conditions like OCD, where you start to believe that if you don't do this thing, then something really bad is going to happen to somebody you care about or to yourself. And even if you don't have any of these conditions, it can be damaging to believe that your thoughts create reality. I do believe that all things begin with your thoughts. I think your thoughts are a starting off point. You know, every invention began as an idea in someone's mind, and then through several steps of planning and designing and testing and trying things out, eventually you have a product or a service or a business or anything. So it begins as a thought. I think all of those stages are important, even with manifestation, even with using witchcraft to create your reality. It's so much more than just your thoughts. It's also the actions that you take towards those thoughts. So I just wanted to add that because I had a different belief system at this time, and I don't believe the same way now. So your words have power in whatever form they come in, whether they're spoken, whether they're thoughts, whether they're put into action. Your words have power, and that is what your magic is. Sorry, I'm eating tomatoes. I do still believe that your words have power. I think that there's a lot of things that have power, though. So the words are a component of the magic. The words are a piece of the entire puzzle, which consists of your words and also the materials that you use to represent the correspondences that you choose to work with a specific purpose that you're seeking to get to, and the physical senses and the emotions and everything. All of that combines in witchcraft. So as a witch, you'll find that your power resides in your words. It resides in your form of communication, and in turn it resides in your integrity. As I talked about, communication is a key part in having integrity. Words are part of communication, and therefore witchcraft relies on integrity. Witchcraft relies on words, witchcraft relies on communicating those words, and witchcraft relies on the integrity of witchcraft. So I think that there is this connection here. I think that witchcraft also relies on a bunch of other stuff. I don't necessarily think that I am like saying that words are the only important thing, but I just want to be clear that they're not the only important thing. Promising what you can deliver and delivering on what you promise. So if you look back through history, our ancestral witches, they were known as the wise ones, right? And this is for a very good reason. They were respected, they were fair, they were the healers in their community, they helped their community in any way they could. They changed things, usually for the better, and they made good decisions. But most of all, our ancestral witches delivered what they promised, and they only promised what they could deliver in the first place. And that's what integrity is. Promising what you can deliver and delivering on what you promise. Some ancestral witches were known as the wise ones. And one aspect of shamans or wise people or spiritual people within a community in history, they did all of these things that I mentioned. I think wise people of the time, people that I'm kind of talking about, I feel like I'm just like being argumentative against myself. I want to mention that for all of history, people are just people. Every historical figure that we talk about or know about, sometimes we put them up on pedestals or we demonize them one way or another. But it's important to recognize that all people are just people, and they all have times when they're not perfect. And so I don't want to put witches of the past up on a pedestal as being these perfect community members. I guess in this video I'm kind of romanticizing the idea of the wise person in a community, the shaman, or the healers. I think they often had very good intentions and were doing good things for the people in the community. I don't think they're the only ones who were doing good for the community. I think they played a role, and I'm sure that they made mistakes because they were people. So like I said, I don't want to romanticize this person from history, because I think it also kind of sets a dangerous precedent for people in modern days to be a perfect representation of that romanticized witch. With that said, I still think it's important to strive to be respected, to be well respected, to strive to treat people with fairness, to look at situations with the intention of trying to make the most number of people happy, making everyone feel like they've gotten at least fair treatment. I think trying to help people when they're struggling, being a healer in whatever way you are trained in, making changes for the better, being progressive, looking for ways to change systems and structures in order to make the world a better place for all people, making good decisions that are aligned with making the world a better place, and doing your best to be honest and act with integrity and be altruistic and only promise things that you can actually deliver on. So that whole list that I just listed about the wise people of the past and how they did all these things, I think they probably strive to do these things, and I think we as modern humans should also strive to do these things. And I believe that modern witches today, that's what we need to focus on, is building our relationships with other people, acting more in our integrity, and walking our talk. Which is why I thought this would be a good theme, something to talk about during this challenge. I should have just let myself talk, because I just said the thing that I said now. I said the thing in the past. That's what we should strive to do as modern people, is to do all those things. I believe that your integrity is also very much tied into your self-esteem. You will be more happy, you'll feel more powerful and empowered, you will feel more confident when your words match your intentions. And then when your actions match your words. And as your words become more and more powerful, your reality begins to reflect that. Because we know that that is what magic is. So I said this thing again about reality happening because of your thoughts, and we already talked about that. But I did like the thing that I said about when your words match your intentions. Hi, Knox. You want to come say hi? But I did like the thing about your intentions matching your words, and your words matching your actions, or your actions matching your words. I said that in reverse. I like that when your words match your intention and your actions match your words. I think that that's a good series of events. So your thoughts and then your words and your actions, they're all aligned. When your power of will changes your reality. As you speak from a place of integrity and you use powerful language in the service of your highest choices, you will start to manifest the changes, and you'll start to manifest those choices that you make in exactly or very much in the way that you describe them. I know what I meant, but it was like word salad, and I didn't like that I said it. In simple terms, in non new age spirituality, word salad words, it's the same as what I had just said, that when your thoughts, your words, and your actions are aligned, you'll be happier, you'll feel more confident and comfortable in your life, you'll be in integrity much more. And when that happens, you'll know that you're on the right path, that you're headed in the best possible direction for your life, and that is in the direction of your dreams. Especially when you're clear on what your dreams are, which is what your intention really is. So your intention, your words and your actions being aligned, then you know which direction you want to go in, and then you're able to head that way because you're taking action towards that dream. So I have 3 suggestions or guidelines, not rules, because the rules are meant to be broken, but I feel like guidelines are more aligned with your moral compass. But so it's 3 guidelines to help you live more authentically and you can walk your talk. So the first one is to stop talking out your ass. The second one is to live like your word is your bond. And then the third guideline is to lead by example. That rules are meant to be broken, so these are guidelines. I think that that's cute. stop talking out your ass, live like your word is your bond, and to lead by example. So those are the 3 things that I will be talking about in this. So I'll talk a little bit more about each of these. So we kind of explore what these things mean. What do I mean by that? The first one, again, is to stop talking out your ass. And what do I mean by that? Well, generally, I would consider talking out your ass as like being really flaky. So when you promise something and you don't deliver on it, when you make a commitment with no intention of following through, this loses you friends. This basically is you telling people that their time isn't important, because if you've agreed to do something at some sort of an event that you don't want to do or you don't have time to do, you're leaving someone in a position where now they don't have anyone to do that, and they have to scramble to find someone who can do this for them because they were under the assumption that you were going to do it because that's what you promised. Or even if you're just meeting someone for coffee and you say that you're going to meet at 3 o'clock and you don't show up until 3:30, being on time tells people that their time is important to you, because think of all the things that they could have done in those 30 minutes that they were waiting for you. You were able to do the things that you needed to do in those 30 minutes for whatever reason that you were late, but you basically wasted their time. It loses you friends. It makes people feel like they're not important to you. It tells you that your time isn't important too. It creates this anxiety or this feeling of unwellness, of just a general bad feeling, even if it's on a subconscious level, even if you're not yet aware of how this affects you and other people, deep down it is affecting you. You're letting people down, and that affects you. So being flaky is just one example of how you can talk out your ass, but I feel like it's a pretty common example. It's all about integrity. It's about walking your talk. This is about building trust and a depth of connection with yourself and with other people. So the first guideline for walking your talk is about the relationships we have with other people, but it's also about the relationship you have with yourself. Knox. It's about your self-esteem, and I believe that your self-esteem and your integrity, I believe that they grow together and that they evolve together. How you treat yourself is ultimately how you treat other people. So, and this works in reverse as well. How you treat other people is ultimately how you treat yourself. So this is what's called mirror work, which is a part of shadow work. I'm going to talk about mirror work, and so I just want to clarify that statement. I don't know what I was thinking in that moment. I think I said it wrong, though. I think how you treat yourself can be a reflection of how you treat other people, and how you treat other people can be a reflection of how you treat yourself. It's not always that way, though, because some people treat other people better than they treat themselves, and some people treat themselves better than they treat other people. So it's more an opportunity to observe this treatment of yourself and other people and see how they compare and learn from that. Because you can learn a lot from any of those 3 things. Treating yourself the same as you treat other people, treating yourself better than you treat other people, or treating yourself worse than you treat other people. All 3 of those experiences can be something you can learn from, and there's different reasonings behind it, and there's different ways that you can change your behavior for whatever direction you want to go in. I don't think making a blanket statement that everyone treats themselves the same as they treat other people and treat other people the same as they treat themselves. I think I just meant that they could be, or maybe I didn't. Maybe I was a little confused about mirror work at that point. But this is how I understand it now, is that it could be a reflection, and it's an opportunity to learn from your observations of treatment of yourself and others. So this is what's called mirror work, which is a part of shadow work. One thing that you can do as far as mirror work goes is to notice how you're treating other people, and when you're treating other people badly, especially. Because when you're talking out your ass, that's treating other people badly, and that's a reflection of how you're treating yourself. So when you're not walking your talk with other people, you'll find that you may not be walking your talk with yourself as well. So if this disappoints you when you're noticing this way that you're treating other people, if it disappoints you, just use that as a mirror to see how you're treating yourself as well, and ask yourself, how am I treating myself? I clarified it there, that you can notice when you're treating other people badly through the example of being flaky, promising something when you know you're not going to be able to follow through, using that as an opportunity to reflect on how you're treating yourself as well. And the reverse is also true. I did clarify it, I feel like, but I think the first statement, I wanted to make sure that I touched on that.
When we're talking out our ass, usually we say yes because we want to be liked by everyone, everywhere, all the time. We want to be liked. That's just a deep human need. When you're flaky, you end up not being liked by anyone involved in that situation, including yourself. So it may seem harmless in the moment. It may even seem like the polite thing to do, to agree to do something when you have no intention of doing it. But you're really just delaying that discomfort that you'll feel and that other people will feel. In the moment, you may not feel that discomfort, but you're just delaying it because eventually you are going to have to say no to this thing. You don't have time or you don't want to do it. So why would you continue with this lie of saying yes? But when you delay that discomfort, it actually increases. So that discomfort becomes worse because people's feelings get hurt. When someone asks you to do something in that moment, if you say no, their feelings aren't necessarily going to be hurt. And if they are, then that's a reflection of that person. It's not a reflection on you. You have every right to say no to anything that you don't have time to do or that you don't want to do. But when you have agreed to do something and then you say no at the last minute or sometimes after the fact, people's feelings do get hurt in that case. This is an aggressive act. Or at the very least, it's a passive aggressive act. The only way to cure this,
I think that's a really interesting observation, that the discomfort increases, and it's even exponential. I feel like that the discomfort is exponentially increasing the longer it's been since you agreed to do something that you're not going to do. If you say no to someone's initial ask, and like I said, you have every right to say no. No is a full sentence. You don't even have to explain yourself, but you can if you want. Like I said, that if you say no and somebody gets upset about that, then that's not your fault. But if you've said yes, and then for each day after that you wait to say no, especially when you initially knew that you weren't going to be able to do that thing, it gets worse and worse and worse, because now that person has less time to find someone else to do that thing. If it's just like going out to lunch, that's less of like a high stakes thing. But if someone asks you to help with a school function or to do a work project or to help them with something that has a time crunch, then it's going to be worse the longer you go because they'll have less time to find someone else to do that thing. Whereas if you just say no at the beginning, then they have plenty of time because they can just ask another person right then.
The only way to cure this is to learn to say no to the things that you don't want to do or the things that you don't have time to do. Because again, when you say yes up front to something that you can't do or you don't want to do, you have to come around at some point and you do have to say no because you don't have time to do it. So you just learning to say no in the first place is a really powerful tool that you have in your toolbox. And we're going to talk about that more in the second guideline. But what about the things that you don't want to flake on, but for some reason you still do? You really want to do something, but you end up not following through. We're so energized and we're so excited about it. We're committed to this goal of showing up, but how long does this commitment really last? How long can you hold that energized feeling? How long can you hold on to that feeling of really wanting this? So again, this first guideline about not talking out your ass, it's about being authentic with your integrity and also your self-esteem, to follow through on your commitments, because you need to follow through on your commitments, if not for you in this moment, then for the you who originally thought it would be a good idea. Try to get into the spirit of the version of you who starts the projects, who makes the promises, and walk your talk. So follow through for the you will be when the challenge is over. Think of who you can become because of continuing that commitment. And also follow through for having faith in yourself, because you are investing in yourself when you are following through. You're investing in your future and who you can become. So follow through, because you know if you don't, your confidence will suffer. And it will be that much harder for you to follow through the next time you commit to something. So sometimes you don't start by walking your talk. Sometimes you start by talking your talk, and then you can grow into this walking your talk place.
I don't really have anything else to add. I think I said it the way that I would say it now. I guess I just want to clarify the difference here. Sometimes you say yes to things that you don't want to do, or you don't have time to do, or you don't have the capability to do, or whatever, and then you later have to change your mind. And then sometimes you say yes to things that you actually do really want to do. Something happens that makes you drop off and not fulfill that commitment. And so there is a difference there if you have every intention of following through with something and saying yes, versus if you don't plan to follow through and you say yes. I said this in the previous video, but it's interesting to watch myself from this time period because I didn't know that I had ADHD. I didn't know that I had a different brain. And so I think that I was really struggling with this, but I didn't realize why. One thing about ADHD is just not being able to follow through with things sometimes. Things get boring. Doing something that you're excited about, eventually it becomes boring. And so I hadn't developed strategies yet to help myself complete projects that I have now because I know about this difference in my brain and have learned strategies based on like what other people with ADHD have done. And I'm not sure if everybody has that same experience, whether they're not neurodiverse or neurotypical. I'm sure a lot of people have different levels of ability to follow through on things. But I know for a fact that having ADHD is one thing that makes it hard for me to follow through on things, even if I'm really excited about it. So I don't know, that's something that's standing out to me because I didn't know that that was something that I struggled with, and I think it's kind of funny to look back on that and see that in myself, that obviously this is something, if I wanted to talk about it, obviously it was something I was struggling with. Not following through definitely messed with my confidence in myself. It messed with my ability to achieve the goals that I had for myself. I still struggle with it, but now I know why, and I know what I need to do in order to get to the other side of the things that I want to do. Whereas back then I didn't know. So it's interesting. Hey there, Editing Maggie here to clip this video up into 2 parts. That's 4. 2 parts. So I do hope that you're enjoying the video about how to have integrity in your witchcraft practice. We've already talked about 1 guideline. If you are interested in the other 2, they will be in part 2 of this series. So I'll see you there for sure. But before you go, make sure that you comment any insights that you have about this video, anything that you learned, anything you want to add to this conversation. I'd love to hear what you have to say. Give this video a thumbs up. Let me know that you like it. Give it a thumbs down if you don't like it. That's cool too. Either way, helps YouTube algorithm and all that YouTube-y stuff. So anyway, thanks again for watching. I'll see you in the next one.